Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, this came into being. It is also here after referred to as Act, that is the Negotiable Instrument Act. It governs the laws. Why does it came? Negotiable Instrument Act কেন এসেছিল? In order to regulate the laws relating to the negotiable instruments in India. So what are the negotiable instruments in India, or what is a negotiable instrument? We have to understand why this Negotiable Instrument Act came. This Negotiable Instrument Act was implemented in order to regulate regulate as well as enforce policies implementation, everything. Regulate the laws relating to negotiable instruments in India. Fine. Now, what is a negotiable instrument? First, let us understand the negotiable instrument. See, once a trade is being done, whenever we are entering into a trade, like say, if I enter into a trade, I am a seller. If I am selling something, he is the seller. The seller is selling something to the buyer. Fine. The seller is something to the buyer. Definitely, the seller will give the product. As a seller, what I will supply a product or services, whatever, and the buyer will pay me the money. Fine. This is the consideration. As we all know that any transaction is incomplete without consideration. So consideration is what? Consideration is the payment in return. See, we are also entering into a transaction. I am giving you tuitions, you are giving me fees. Is it possible that you will be paying me without any classes or without any other product? If I am a seller, I will sell a product or a services. It is not fair enough that I will claim for nothing as a consideration. What is consideration? In law, in the Contract Act, or in law, both. You need to understand this. Consideration is a legal term, and consideration means something in return. So this something in return is very important in order to be a valid contract. If I need to consider a contract, what is a contract? Contract means a promise between two or more parties. See, here in this case, there are two parties, party A and party B. I am referring here to two parties. Let's say party A is this and party B is this. They enter into a contract. Definitely they come across like party A. Party A, B ke bolo, I will sell you 1 ton of cotton. Fine. Party A told to party B that he will be selling you 1 ton of cotton to you. Kostavi, kindly keep yourself mute. So party A offered to party B that I am willing to sell you 1 ton cotton at a price of maybe 1000 rupees. Fine. So B accepted this offer that is made by A. B accepted the offer. Fine. Now B accepted, and then they come across towards an agreement. Agreement can be a verbal agreement. Agreement means what? তুমি আর আমি একটা কথায় agree করছি. We both are having a consensus on a single terms, single idea. Agreement होने के लिए there are two compulsory things. Once we say an agreement can only be take place when there are two basic conditions met. First is consensus ad idem. What is consensus ad idem? Consensus ad idem এর মানে হলো that তোমার, if I am telling you that I am selling this green color, I am selling you this green color box at rupees 100. I told to you that I am selling this green color box at rupees 100. You also accepted the same, that yes, I will purchase this green color box at rupees 100. That means the buyer and the seller, that is both the parties, have a consensus on the same terms and condition. So in order to have an agreement, both the parties should have a consensus ad idem. And second, first thing is actually plurality. Plurality of person is important in case of an agreement. There has to be more than one person. how an agreement will take place. Agreement টা হবে কি করে? আমি একা একা তো নিজে নিজেকে সেল করতে পারি না. I could not sell something to myself, and that is why an agreement will not take place with a single person. আমি তো নিজেকেই নিজের জিনিস বিক্রি করব না. Entire your contract act or your entire legal terms, the commercial law is based on the fact that a transaction will take place. আমরা commercial law কেন পড়ছি? My entire commercial law is based on understanding that a sale will take place, we will have a transaction, there will be a supplier, there will be a supplier side, there will be a purchaser side, and definitely there is a chances that there can be a miscommunication or any error or manipulation or any type of forgery or a breach can take place in future. As we all know, we never knew about the future, we are uncertain about the future, and that is why in order to safeguard ourselves, this corporate law came. This corporate law, or rather your business law, whatever term you can use. So this agreement has been taken place, and once this agreement can be an oral agreement or a written agreement, but once we write this, once the agreement takes a written shape, it becomes a contract. Fine. Now till this, is this clear to you, Kaustavi? Till this you understood that in order to have an agreement, there should be an offer, that is offer or a proposal. From that proposal will be accepted, then an agreement will be made. For an agreement, there are two important points. First is plurality of persons, second is co-sensus ad idem. Now after this agreement is written in a written form, it has been made, then we define it as contract. Now in order to have a valid contract, see, this is a commercial contract, so in order to have a valid contract, there should be consideration. That is, consideration is one of the main important features in any contract. That is something in return. Mr. A is providing 1 ton cotton to B, that means Mr. B should provide him the money, right? It is important fact here. If Mr. A is telling that I will supply you 1 ton cotton at no cost, then there is no contract required. Is there any contract required? Contract কি দরকার আছে কোনো? No, because ওখানে তো কোনো ব্রিচের কথাই নেই. আমি বলছি আমি তোমাকে ফ্রিতে দেব, that point of time you are also safe. I am also assured that nothing, I don't have to pay something, or I am not going to receive anything. যখন আমার পেমেন্টের ব্যাপারই নেই, তাহলে কন্ট্রাক্টটা করারই কিছু নেই. Once I am entering into a contract, that I am rest assured that I assure myself that I will get the payment, and in order to safeguard myself from any sort of manipulation or any sort of forgery or breach in future, we enter into a contract. But here so consideration is one such important factor in any type of contract, right? So consideration is the main factor. So what is consideration? Consideration is simply something in return. We understood something in return. So what is something in return? Let me explain this in very implicit terms. It is money, payment. Definitely in a commercial transaction, it is payment. That is something in return is actually the money we expect from the transaction that has taken place. Fine. Now this payment, if a transaction is being entered, now the transaction is a cash transaction, then there is no issue, because what I am getting, I am selling something, then the buyer will make the payment in cash. So what we receive is the cash payment. Understood? In case of cash transaction, we are assured that we get the cash payment, and so there is no requirement of any worry or nothing. Fine. Now in case of credit transactions, what will happen? In case of credit transaction, the selling took place. But now since it is a credit transaction, how will a seller be assured? Because the seller has already given the thing. Seller has already delivered the product. Let's say I have delivered 1 ton cotton. 1 ton cotton to the buyer. He is the buyer. And the payment terms is given that he will pay me after 1 month. That is 30 days time period is given. Fine. So the seller has to wait for the next 30 days in order to get the payment? I am a seller, he is a buyer. Now I have to wait for next 30 days to get the payment. Fine. Now, but in case I did not get any payment after 30 days, what will happen? I have to go to the court, I have to claim for my payment and so on, right? There can be different type of legal hazards that I may have to face as a seller. Is it possible? Yes, of course it is possible. There are chances that breaches took place and people does not pay for the services or the product even after the 30 days time and so on. So what a seller can do? Seller can take on the day of the delivery itself, or maybe on an advance basis on the day of the contract, he can take a negotiable instrument. He can take a negotiable instrument which he can encash on a later date. This negotiable instrument will assure the seller that yes, I have this negotiable instrument with me, so I can encash this after 30 days. Maybe after 1 month, I will just go to the buyer or go to the bank, anyone, whatever, whoever name is mentioned there, whoever is going to be the drawee, I will go to that, means after 30 days, sorry, it is 30 days. I will go after 30 days to the respective drawee and will encash my payment. So এখানে কি হচ্ছে দেখো, in case আমি ধার দিলাম and I am waiting for 30 days. After 30 days যদি buyer আমাকে পেমেন্টটা করলো না, then I am totally in a loss because I have to go to the court, I have to claim for the payment and so on. Definitely there are so many legal proceedings that I may have to carry on. So in order to safeguard all these hazards, what a seller and buyer can do? A seller and buyer can, on the day of the contract itself, they can go through a transaction with the help of negotiable instrument. In this case, seller is in a safe position. Seller seller is rest assured. Yes, buyer has accepted the negotiable instrument, or maybe buyer itself himself has issued the negotiable instrument to the seller. So the negotiable instrument act as a safe side or a safeguard to me, that I'm rest assured of the payment that I will receive. I have given the delivery of my product and my payment will be encashable in next 20 days, 30 days, whatever the time period is. Till this point, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now this negotiable instrument. So now, as of now, you must have understood that how this negotiable instrument concept has came. Means why this negotiable instrument is required. Okay. Now let us move to the Negotiable Instrument Act 1881. So this Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 came into being in order to regulate this negotiable instruments. Fine. Because as we all know that there are different negotiable, definitely there are different negotiable instruments available in the market. So the law, the Negotiable Instrument Act that was implemented in the year 1881, this enforces, regulates all the policies and implement all the things related to negotiable instrument, because there are chances that we can misuse the negotiable instrument, or there are chances that we can go through the bridge. See, whenever new things come, there are always possibilities of new type of manipulation or forgeries we can do ahead. So that is why this act came, so that it can regulate the negotiable instruments in India. The act relates to the in India, the act relates to the promissory notes, checks, of exchange, are all traditional negotiable instruments that are available in India. The act relates to promissory notes, bills of exchange, checks and hundis. Now, it does not affect any custom or usage, nor does it affect the provisions of Section 31 and 32 of the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. See, it is clearly mentioned again and again that Negotiable Instrument Act 1881, though it regulates negotiable instruments, that is promissory notes, checks, bills of exchange and hundis in India. Fine, in India we are talking about. So check, as we all know that checks is issued by the bank, but bank is regulated by RBI. So it is clearly mentioned that the Negotiable Instrument Act has come, and it imposes all the act related to regulations of checks as well. But though it does not any way manipulate or it prohibits, means it does not affect the customer usage, as well as the section 31 and section 32 of the RBI Act 1934. Fine. Now, what is section 31 and 32? The provision of section 31 state that no other person other than Reserve Bank of India or central government can draw, accept, make or issue any bill of exchange, hundi or promissory note payable to the bearer on demand, nor make or issue any promissory note payable to the bearer of the instrument. See, here it is clearly mentioned that according to section 31, other than RBI, only RBI, it means that only RBI can make, draw, issue any bill of exchange, hundi, promissory note, anything which is payable means on demand or to the bearer on demand. Means bearer means whoever is carrying. So it could means anyone, means none other than RBI. No other institution can issue such bearer or means negotiable instrument, right? Bearer on demand. This type of negotiable instrument can only be issued by the RBI. Now let us understand the section 32. Section 31 is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now section 32 provides that a person is punishable with a fine if he issues a bill or note payable to the bearer on demand. So section 32 clearly provides that a person is punishable with a fine if he issues a bill or note payable to the bearer on demand. So section 31 and 32 clearly indicates the portion of bearer concept, that is the negotiable instrument bearer portion, that no one can issue or make payment anything as such. The instruments which are bearer on demand. Fine. Bearer on demand. The Negotiable Instrument Act 1988 was brought in to encourage the culture of using check and enhancing the credibility of the instrument. See, we all know that Negotiable Instrument Act is 1881. The Negotiable Instrument Act in 1988, there are certain enforcement that has been done. Let us go through it.
Ma'am, what is
Sorry?
ma'am, what before?
Negotiable Instrument Act. Yes, I'm telling. It's Negotiable Instrument Act 1988. That means there are certain upgradation. Initially, the actual Negotiable Instrument Act is 1881 only, but there are certain amendments have been done in the year 1988, and so we define it as amendment. This is Amendment Act. Fine. There are certain amendments made. Amendments made in 1988. So amendments in 1988 was mainly done in order to encourage the usage of check and made it as a instrument of credibility. We as of now, now in the current days we all prefer check. আজকে ডেটে we prefer check, isn't it? আমরা check কে খুবই importance দিই. We use it as a credible instrument. So in the year 90 means before the year 1988, check was not used that much. Even কিছুদিন আগেও আমি হুন্ডিজ and promissory note এটা অনেক ইউজ হয়, এখন অবধি ইউজ হয় in the business scenario. So Negotiable Instrument Act 1988, the amendment was mainly done so that it can encourage the usage of check, checks and enhancing the credibility of the instrument itself. Fine. By inserting section 138 to section 142, a new chapter was incorporated for penalties in case of dishonor of check due to insufficiency of fund in the account of the drawer. See, there are certain insertion has been done, that is section just a minute. Section 138 to section 142. Section 142, there are certain insertion that has been done which incorporated the penalties, means penalties due to insufficiency funds, insufficiency of the funds in the account of the drawer. Fine, the account of the drawer. So in the year 1988, when the amendment was made in the Negotiable Instrument Act, they have mostly focused on the usage of the check, and people does not use it or misuse it. That is why the section 138 to 142, section 142 was added, the chapters were added, which incorporated the penalties. Penalties in case of dishonor of check due to insufficiency of fund. As we all know that nowadays if we bounce any check, the charges are quite high. With a view to further expedite the criminal proceedings for dishonor of check and also modify certain definitions to suit the requirement of electronic commerce, amendments were effected through the Negotiable Instrument Act 2002. So another important amendment that was done was in the year Negotiable Instruments Act 2002. This is also the amendment where e-commerce and electronic mechanism, electronic transactions, electronic clearing was given more importance, and criminal proceedings were added. Now, as we all know that it is a criminal, means a person, a drawer who does not have sufficient balance in his account, or he means intentionally bounced the check, then a criminal proceedings will be done against him. Fine. So this has been expedited. Just a minute. Let me move to the new sections what has been incorporated.